I'm Cyclin, and for the past couple of weeks, I've been working on a huge project. Now, this is my website, definitiveguide.com, and on its first look, it's not that massive, but when we click on layouts, you notice the massive thing. I have been working on every campaign relevant zone. I've run everything that was relevant for an optimized campaign pathing, looked at all the layouts of each zone, how to identify them, how to optimize run them in a realistic way. And I put it all in this document. Now, those that have followed my channel for a while know that I tried it once in a Google document. Why is it now on a website? The reason was on a Google document, the images were so small. There was just way too messy. Now, we can actually just zoom in on the images and have them actually readable, actually lookable. The text is cleaner and everything is sorted. You have an easy way to traverse through the website. So really happy with that, but of course, not everybody is able to learn all the layouts. A lot of time, even with me already having done half the work of gathering them all, or the big part of the work, it will still require a lot of practice runs and a lot of just looking at all of them, learning them, run through the zone, understand where the identifiers are. So I prepared something on top of all this. I went and considered the 10 layouts that are the most important to learn, because the time difference of not knowing them and do knowing them is massive. And in this video, we're going to go through these layouts, how to read them, and just go through a few example runs on these layouts. Now, I will also, in the coming week, work on a video for each act on overall how to read them, just to give a little bit of the perspective that I have now on these as I run crazy amount of them. But this will just cover these 10 most important layouts. There are a couple zones in Act 1 that could be considered good to learn, like Tidal Island, Mudflats, Haven of Wrath, but honestly, I think Upper Prison is the zone most people will spend a lot of time in if they don't know how to identify it. So let's go first through the identification in theory. First thing, we need to figure out which direction the zone goes. So there's usually one side where you don't see any or barely anything going past. Like here, we spawn at the south, so we see that there's nothing here. Or in this zone, we spawn at the north, so we do see this room here, but we see that in the other direction, nothing is behind there. Then we need to find, okay, now that when we see the direction the zone goes to, is the zone going to go left corner? So the exit can go in, let me take a different color for this. The exit can go into the left corner. It could be a loop, or it can go into the right corner. So we identify the wall, we identify where it isn't. Then we identify if the north is a dead end or it's gonna continue. And then depending on our strongbox room, in where we see it and the exit, we know where the exit is, or the strongbox room. So we have the direction, the south or north direction, then we have the west or east direction we identify, and then we identify, is it a middle exit like here, or is it a south exit like here? So in praxis, this looks like this. We are in the zone. We are first gonna check, okay, the zone seems to extend north. East is not a dead end, but we have not found out if this or this direction is a dead end yet. So this is the next thing we check. We see rooms continuing, so it is a room that opens east and extends north. Now we have this direction, and now we can just move. We see, if we see the exit is here. Otherwise, we would have seen the box here, and if we saw the box here, the exit would have been in this direction. Now, if you want to force the box on this layout, we would need to backtrack a bit. We would need to go down here and have the box down here. But because of the way we path, because we don't know at the point we are here, so we went here, And then here, we didn't know quite yet if this box was going to be here and the exit was there, or if the exit is here and the box was going to be there. Let's do this one more time. So we load into an upper prison. We're gonna check. It is so far extending in this direction. So again, we know it's an east now, but we haven't figured quite out yet if it's a south or north. So we're gonna check. Now we see an edge. Now we know it is a south one. And if it's south, we can go along here and either we find a strong box or we're gonna be finding a passage in the other direction again. Now that we found a strong box, so we figured out it is this direction, there's the edge, here's the box, so the exit is gonna be here. So we have the box if we want to take it, and then if we follow along, would have found the exit. Alternatively, in this zone, what we could have done, if we don't care about the box, if we wanted the box, we had to backtrack a bit. After we were here and we found out the direction the zone extends to, we could have just taken this passage and we would have also ended up here. And then we could have still taken the box or there. But so much for upper prison. This is gonna be a trend that is in all the zones in today's video. Once you see the directions the zone goes to, and you have some of the identifiers like the box, you can very quickly identify how the zone behaves, and you just need to keep these general rules in mind. Figure out the direction, figure out the identifiers, and you know where the exit is. And then it's just repetition and practice. Act 2 has 2 zones that you could argue. There are not that many as in Act 1. A lot of them are linear, like Southern Forest, Old Fields, Crossroads, all simplistic zones. There is an argument for Crypt. However, Crypt is something that if you have struggled with it, you can very quickly learn on your own. It is not complicated. It has a very simple rule to follow, so I'm not going to cover that in this video. However, Vaal Ruins is a zone that can be very confusing if you don't know what you're looking for. And what you're looking for is less identifiers and more zone behavior. So there are 6 variants for Vaal Ruins. There are 3 variants that go in an S pattern, where you go left, right, left, or southeast, then northwest, then southeast again, then northwest again. Or in this one, we go northwest, then we go south, then we go northeast, then we go northwest, and so on. But there are also the patterns there, for example, the spiral pattern, where it's the only room where we have a zone of, like, there is terrain here behind the entrance. This is the only one where we have terrain behind the entrance. Then we have the fast zone, when we follow our initial read and try to move into one direction till we are forced in a different one. In this one, we are directly moved into the Vaal room and allowed to pass through. And the moment we hit the Vaal room, we know the zone we are in. Or we have the V pattern, where we are forced to move into a direction, and we can actually just walk past the Vaal room, or we can go through the Vaal room, both end at the same similar. But we notice that we are never moving into the S pattern. So the moment we notice that when we are here, we can't move north, we can't move west again, we know that we are in an S pattern. So let's apply this in praxis. We just need to figure out the general direction the zone goes to. We gotta be moving into the direction that we can. So now I can no longer move south or west, so I'm changing my direction. Moving further north. I'm moving further. Now I hit a dead end here. Now we have our zone. So we moved north, which none of the other special variants go to. And now we found the passage to move south. And from here, we're gonna be going in this pattern. We have the corruption room. We move through it. And now we know we are in S pattern, so we move in this direction. Now that we hit the curve, we're moving in this direction again. Here we see, this is always the room of the Vaal sphere. And after it is always the exit. Once we know the direction we have to go, the zone becomes super easy. So let's do this one more time. We enter the Vaal ruins. We are moving in one direction till the zone forces us in a different one. So now we are forced in a different one. Now we have the same ruling again. We are looking to go into the direction the zone sends us to. Now it sent us north. So now we have the zone behavior. Gonna be this. And the exit is gonna be there. So we move through, we move down. But here's the Vaal room. And here's the exit. Next, in Act 3, we have a clear winner on most complicated zone, and it's Lunaris Temple 2. It's a very big zone, and if you don't know how to run the zone and what you're looking for, you can spend a lot of additional time in this zone. So the general rule of Lunaris Temple 2, it has two sections. It has the first part and the second part. In the first part, you're gonna have a series of stairs. And the first platform always has two stairs down. They're always in the same direction. Then from the first layer into the second layer are always two stairs in adjacent directions. So it could be this, it can be that, it can be this. And we don't know quite yet what those directions are at. So we don't know where to go. We always choose one direction at the beginning and we check along this. And always take the same behavior so that when you swap it in between runs, you're gonna have inconsistent results. With the same read, you have gonna be having consistent results. Once we have found the first stairs, we're gonna be continuing to check. And you can see here, one is always gonna be a dead end. Then we know the direction is gonna be, in this case, northeast. If, for example, in this variation, we have the stairs here and here, and there we have the dead end in this direction or nothing further here. We are at the west edge, so we know that it's northwest. So on the first zone, we are looking for the direction, the first stairs, and once we find the second stairs, we do know that the third stair is going to be in the same direction as the second stair. This is the first part. The second part is going to be either a maze we have to go through linear, and this is the case if we go north, or it is a maze we have to go through in a U pattern. So we enter the maze in this direction, and we're gonna be trying to stay on this edge, and we're gonna be trying to leave the maze in the direction. If it's the other corner, if it's from southeast, we enter this, we stick again through here, we can dash through this, and we leave the maze in the east direction, but facing east. So this is just what we need to know. Let's apply this in praxis. Entering Lunaris Temple 2. At first, we don't know where to go. I always check this corner first, and then I go and move clockwise. So we look for the first set of stairs. This is the stairs what I'm talking about. You see it because it's a staircase. But we don't know if the second stairs is going to appear in the same direction. So we continue to check here. It's a wall area. And here we find the second staircase. Now that we have our two staircases, we know the third one is also gonna be in this direction. So we continue and just gonna look. Here, this can not. Then this is the third staircase. Now we have another identifier directly. You can see on the minimap this and this. This is the wagon here, and there are gonna be two wagons here. We always go in the direction of that one wagon, because this is always going to be the direction the zone continues. Here we're going to have a dead end. And this is the direction we want to take. We ignore the first thing here, and then we're at the door. Yeah, now we start the second section with the staircase and with this door. Because we had a north layout, we just walk north. And we find the second big door. In this big door, we have the first platform with a blue pack, second platform with a blue pack, and we had the exit. And here's Piety. It's a very easy to read zone if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know where to go, there are so many dead ends you can take that just take additional time. That becomes a very tedious zone. And when you die, it's a huge amount of reset and a rerunning you have to do. So let's do this one more time. I go into this direction first. I'm looking for the first set of stairs. We have a set of stairs. Is it the same one? Same one would be boring. No, it's not. Okay. So in this case, we had it. The first stair led into the edge. Because we have an edge and we are forced in this way, the second stair and the third stair will go into this direction as well. They have to. So we're gonna walk along here and we're gonna find the second stair. Now, just to show this would have been the correct stair, but we didn't know that based on our read. We found this stair first. It's okay. We just follow along and we see that there's gonna be a long edge where nothing happens, which tells us the direction we have to go. So now we go to the second stair. We're gonna follow, gonna look for the third stair. Here's the third stair. We see one wagon, we see two wagons. Now this was the southwest layout, meaning that we're gonna be finding our gate here, and from the gate we're gonna be moving like this. That's behind my... We found the first, the passage, we're gonna find the gate, and from the gate we move like that. Let's apply to Praxis. We're gonna look for our first gate, which is here. And from the gate, we are gonna be sticking to this edge. We're gonna dash across here and we have the second edge. If we wouldn't have crossed the edge, we would have walked our U shape like I predicted. Look at it on the minimap. We entered and we walked the U here. We can dash across. Of course, we can do that because it's just faster. And from here, it's the same. We have the blue pack. We have the staircase and we have the second blue pack. When you know what you're doing, the zone goes so quickly. Next, in Act 4, this zone I used to dread. It has actually been one of my personally most hated zones. And even whilst I thought I had all layouts, I still kept finding more. So right now, as far as I know, there are 6 layouts to Belly of the Beast too. And we can read them as following. If we have a north start, we want to stick to the west edge and follow it along to the exit. Turn off my cam for a moment. If we have a west and a south start, we identify the zone based on the tunnels we see. If we only have one tunnel, we're gonna go through the tunnel till we are forced into a curve and then we follow the path. If we have 2 tunnels and there's a big distance between the tunnels, we are following the second tunnel till we hit a T section, which we then can follow along and move south and then follow along the north edge. If we have 2 tunnels, but they're very short, so here there's very little distance between them and they are basically just creating a square here, we return to the first tunnel exit and then we move north and then we have like a zigzag leading to Piety. However, there can also be the fake tunnel if we have a very short tunnel. So we walk here, we see the first tunnel, we continue, we see the second tunnel, but the second tunnel ends in a T section. If the second tunnel ends in a T section, we need to move south till we ignore the dead end or quickly check this dead end, and then we can have this curved into Piety. This section actually confused me when I initially found it. And then we have the 2 normal tunnels where we walk to the tunnels, they have a short distance and it ends into a curve, and then we just follow the direction until we end in a second curve and then follow the path. So if we apply this in Praxis, we started the zone. Now this is the first tunnel and we have the second tunnel. Now the distance between the tunnels has been very short. And now we are curving. So because we curved with the second one, we follow the curve. And now we are in a passage that always leads to Piety. So let's do this one more time. We start. We see the first tunnel. We have a distance between. We have the second tunnel. We enter the second tunnel. And we now have the T section. Because we have the second tunnel into a T section, we follow this edge, and we add piety. Now, this zone would have been very punishing. There was a passage here we could have taken, there's a tunnel here. It also continues in this direction. Like, if you don't know how to read this zone, it can be very punishing. There's a lot of dead ends you can take with you. So this is why I personally believe this is one of the most important zones to learn if you want to improve your time and you have the basics down. For Act 5, I'm cheating a little bit with the top 10 zones because I'm actually counting 3 zones into one. Templar Courts in Act 5, Torch Courts in Act 5, and Torched Courts in Act 10 all behave the same. The main difference is that in Templar Courts and in Act 10 we enter from the north, and in Torched Courts in Act 5 we enter from the south. This is the only key difference to this. But we have two sections. We have the first section, which is this upper part here, and we have the second section. And we can identify this change in the sections when we enter this hearing room. Or this courtroom, the actual one, with the stand here, and then these rows of banks just looking at whoever is getting punished, or whatever they do there. So, for the first section, I'm defining this as the first section. Our goal is to stay in the corridors. When we stay in the corridors, we have a very easy time to get through this zone. And I'm gonna show this in both directions. I'm gonna show this one in Act 5 and one in Act 10. Because I can't enter Templar Courts in Act 5. In the second section, we have also some rules. The entrance and the exit are roughly at the same height. They are not guaranteed parallel, like to the pixel, but we know roughly that when we get into this part, it's time to move up. So our goal from this is that we go through the hearing room, and from here we want to move south. We want to move west as when we can, and if we can't move west, we move south. And we repeat this until we see, oh, we are about the same height, and then we move northwest to get the exit. And the same thing happens if we do it in return. Our goal is to move east until we can, and then we move north until to the hearing room, and then we want to be in the corridors in some way or form to get through this terrain or through this maze of doors. So let me show this. I'm gonna first show this as part of Act 10 as a replacement for Templar Courts. So this is a replacement for Templar Courts. Just imagine this is not burnt down, everything is fine, everybody's alive. We would have had a waypoint here, and then we go, and our goal is to leave these tiny rooms as fast as possible into a corridor again. This is a corridor. Corridors have more long open paths, and here we are ready at the east edge. We know this is the east edge because we see these windows, and here's the hearing room. This is the hearing room, there would be here the banks, and now our goal is to move west. Now I see I'm at the edge, but also see my positioning is very good on a line compared to the entrance. So I need to move up. And here we are at Desecrated Chambers. Now would be Chamber of Innocence in Act 5. So if we do the whole thing in reverse, for Torch Courts, we enter Torch Courts. Now we are here, everything is burning, we are moving east. Now, here's something that I can show. These charred bookshelves are dashable. If you align yourself correctly, you can dash through them. You can see them also on the minimap with these, I guess, both edges are kind of shaping outward. We have another one here. Place yourself in front of it and dash through. So our goal is to get through up here until we get into the hearing room. Here we are in the hearing room again. If we wouldn't have been dashing, we would have just went through the room. So we went here, with the dead end, we can dash through, okay, we return Go here, we move east, and we are in the hearing room. Now in the hearing room, we change, we take the corridors, and our goal is to stick to the corridors. And we now hit the north edge of the zone. Again, we can see it because the windows are only at the edge, and we are at the exit. We could have also done it if we couldn't have taken the north here. We could have also taken this corridor, moved here, kept in this corridor. Now we would have had to walk through, and we would have been in this corridor. Just stick to the corridors in the first part, and in the second part, keep in mind the direction you want to go and the direction you need to avoid until you are parallel to the entrance, or you reach the courtroom, depending on the direction you go or the zone you're in. Act 6 is, honestly, there are only two layouts that arguable are hard. There's Cavern of Anger, which has 3 layouts, but you're gonna very quickly get into a dead end if you aren't going into the correct direction, and there's Ridge. Ridge has these massive dead end areas. Like, it has a dead end here, it has this massive extra passage here, or here, and you could, if you don't know the direction the zone goes in, you could walk in more or less a circle. Like, you could walk here, then you walk back here, and you notice, oh, it connects there, I need to turn around. So to prevent that, we need to understand how Ridge behaves. Ridge always has a dead end section and a passage section based on the start. The dead end is either left or right of the entrance. If it is left of the entrance, we want to take the right until we hit the curve, and then we want to take the left. So we want to go west until we hit the west edge, and then we want to go north. The same thing, just in reverse on east. We have west as the dead end, so we go east until we hit the curve, and then we go west. Now, I can say this here because of the minimap, but in practice we also have some identifiers that help us checking to be on the correct way. We load into the zone, either from the entrance or the waypoint, and we already see the dead end here. So we are in a west edge, and we want to go east. We go up here, and here's the curve. So at this point, we just want to go into this direction. And we know we take the correct passage because of this dude. This freak, literally in his name, Fleet Freak, and this zone that has these wooden spikes with wheels and corpses on top. If we see this, we know we are on the right passage. Even if it's curved, we know it's the right passage and we follow it. We don't take any splits until we hit the edge. And we know it's the edge because we can't find any more passing through. Like, we still see the nest on the other side, but once we hit the edge, it's... The camera is kind of... I don't know how to explain it, but the camera is kind of forcing a little bit. When we are still in the middle of a zone, we are centered. But towards the edge, we are moving a little bit off center. And then we just move north, and we are at the lower prison entrance. Let's do this one more time from the other direction, just to showcase that as well. And this makes a zone that some people take like 2 to 3 minutes in, down to less than 1 minute if you have enough movement speed. Alright, so now we have the dead end in this direction, and we move along. We want to see the zone, but we are moving until we hit the edge. Now here we can continue in the different directions. We have these 3 corrections. This would be a small dead end. Can quickly show this. This is just a smaller dead end. We wouldn't be wanting to take this, so this is why we try to stay on this edge while keeping the curve in mind. And now we continue the passage here. We see the spikes, we see Fleet Freak, and we know we are on the correct path. We move north, and we are at the prison entrance. And we dodged all these dead end connections, all this extra zone that we just don't need. All of this is no need for. We just took the correct passage. Now, Act 7, it's pretty unanimous that Vaal City is the most disliked zone in Act 7 campaign. It is a zone a lot of people spend a lot of time never finding the waypoint, or just spending way too much time until they do find it. And most people, especially beginners, almost fully explore the entire zone. However, what if I tell you can explore the zone in, or find the exit in roughly 30 seconds, assuming you have like 10-20% movement speed and a movement skill? There are only 4 variants to this, and we can very easily identify them very quickly. We either spawn at the cliff. When we have the cliff, we just follow the cliff until we hit the wall. We actually see the waypoint from here, and then we know, because it's a cliff layout, we can take the right curve. If you would take the left curve here, you would need to walk all the way around before you can enter from the top. So it's not always correct to walk left on the long wall. Then if you have a very, like, you walk in the zone and very quickly you find a wall, but you can directly move past it on the left side, we have the left edge wide layout. So we just walk towards the left edge, and when we have it, again, we can see the waypoint from here. We walk around, this time we walk around the left side. Then we have the long wall, and the long wall is very easy to notice. You have, again, a wall very quickly when you just walk north, but this wall, you don't know which direction to go. So we go left around the wall again, and when we're gonna be facing the next wall, we want to go left along the wall until we have the opening. In this case, we want to go left, because if we would go right, we would need to walk all the way back. So in this case, left do be the quicker way. And finally, we have a short wall, but it's late into the zone. So all other walls we have seen around here, they've been here. But this time, we need to walk a bit, but again, we walk left around the wall, and we immediately hit the long wall. And now we can walk through here. If we walk this way, sometimes we have that we can walk directly through, but other times this wall continues here, or sometimes even all the way till here. So we would need to walk either this or all the way around. So this is another layout where we want to go right. So if we have a cliff layout or the late wall, we take the right. And if we have an early wall, we go left around the long wall. Let me show this in practice. It sounds a bit complicated, but it's actually very simple. We move north, and now we hit the wall. This is the wall. We know this is the wall, and we don't see the left end. So we go around left of it. We hit the second wall, and we go left. We go around, and we immediately go through. And here's the entrance. I immediately found it. I had no walking to find anything else, just directly finding the correct path. Let's do it one more time. We walk north. We have a late wall, and we see the left edge. This is what I mean with, we immediately see the corner of the wall. And because we do, we go around it. We immediately see the long wall. We take here, we can go through, we go here, we can go through, and there's the waypoint. How long was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? 20 seconds? Less than 20 seconds to read the zone? Now I have a high movement speed, so maybe it takes you 20 to 30 seconds. So quickly I can do it one more time. We move up, we have the cliff. So because we have the cliff, we move north along the cliff. And here we see the waypoint. We move east. Around it, we move back, and we are here. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's so quick when you know what you're doing in the zone. Next, in Act 8, there is arguably there's Lunaris Temple 2 again, but we already covered that with Act 3. there's the argument of Lunaris Temple too, but honestly, Graingate is the most important zone to now learn in Act 8, not because it's the most complex one, but because there is a new way to run Act 8 that hasn't been widely distributed yet. Because they added the hidden underbelly in Act 8, we have a way to run through Act 8 at a way quicker pace, and it all hinges on reading Graingate correctly. The way Graingate is built, it has 3 zones. Or 3 to 4 zones, like here's a 4th zone. Each zone defines an open air area, and these zones are connected by these interiors. So whenever you have the interior, that is what connects 2 zones with each other. The interiors are always exited the same direction they are entered, so if you enter from the south, you exit from the north. If you enter from the east, you exit from the west, and so on. But not all of these interiors have exits. So the way we identify these is with the corpses. We are looking for any blackguard corpses next to a gate, and this is gonna be our correct path. Then we need to understand how the zone behaves. If we have an entrance from the west, we have the book indicator indicating the Gambling Legion. So whenever we see the book, we know the Legion is there. We go there, we kill the Legion, and then if we have an entrance from the west, both the Underbelly hidden entrance and the Gambling Legion is on the same zone. Otherwise, if we have an entrance from the south, the Gambling Legion is in the 3rd zone, and the hidden Underbelly is in the 2nd zone somewhere. As for the Underbelly entrance, it's always next to a pile of metal and a crane. So let's do this in praxis. Because it is honestly very simple once we understand what we are looking for. We enter the grain gate. Now you will enter from the crate, so let's go back to the entrance. We have a south entrance. So we move. We look for the corpse. There you see the leg. We go through. The exit is opposite. Then we look for one more corpse. It's here. We move through. There's we see the book. There's the Gambling Legion raiding. We kill the Gambling Legion. We go back. Instead of continuing to Imperial Fields, we go back, and now we are just looking for the crane. There's the crane, and here's the hidden underbelly. Done. Very quick zone if you understand what you're looking for. Let's do it one more time. We enter, this time from the west. We are looking for the first corpse. There's the corpse. Now we know, because we entered from the west, the Legion is on the 2nd zone, like here. We have the Legion. And the underbelly is also in the 2nd zone. So we don't need to walk another interior. We are just looking for the underbelly in the open. Here it is. There's the metal crane. There's the pile of rust. And here's the underbelly. Now, just very quickly taking the chance in this video. Why is the underbelly important? What are we saving? So we start the zone as normal. We get to town. We get through the dojo cesspool and toxic conduits. We enter Quay. We do Tollman. We enter Graingate. We kill the Gambling Legion. And then we have the new pathing. Now, Graingate sent us to Lunaris Concourse, which has a very easy passing into Lunaris Temple. And from then, we go the waypoint back to town. We take the portal, which we leave in the underbelly. I have that in underbelly, and I have gonna be having a video about whole Act 8 pathing soon. And then from the underbelly, we enter the bathhouse, which gets us the Lunaris Concourse waypoint, which gets us the trial and gets us high gardens to Kalyugel. So we can take all 3 passive points from that act in one go, on top of being done with all side objectives. So we can just do Lunaris Temple for the boss, then go to Lunaris Concourse, Lunaris Temple, do the boss, and then we can finish the act. We never enter Imperial Fields, we never enter Grand Promenade. We have a very easy read through Lunaris Concourse, like it takes less than 10 seconds or 20 seconds from Concourse into Lunaris Temple. And then we have also a really good spawn and bathhouse for everything in there. Just making whole Act 8 very efficient to path through. Finally, or not finally, we have Act 10 left, but in Act 9, we enter Belly of the Beast again. And just like Act 4, it is a zone I dreaded for the longest of times. This zone was pure pain to learn. I think I spent like 2 hours on it. And then I still found more layouts, but regardless. Belly of the Beast has actually a very easy way to read it. The start is either gonna be from the north, and this is the only north start layout. So when you have the north start, you continue the path until it splits off, and you can take a left turn. You follow the path until it splits off, and you can take a left turn until you can take a left turn. So this is the left turn layout, basically. Whenever you can go left, you take the left until you hit the exit. But every other layout is a little bit more complicated. They all have two things in common. They all enter from the east and you're facing west, and they will all enter the first split always ends up being a square. I should maybe take one that isn't half hidden by my camera. Here. Every time we enter, it's a square. We have this square here. And depending on where we enter the square and where we leave the square, we know where we have to go. So for example, if we exit the square in the bottom right, so we exit the square, in this case, we do enter it from the north and we exit it here, but because most layouts where we enter it from the north, we exit it in the other direction, we have to check this corner. We exit it at the bottom, and then we again take our turns. Once it splits, we go west, and then when the next split, we go north into the correct passage. Then if we enter it in the bottom right, but we enter it from the top left, we do the same. We ignore this dead end. We follow the curve, we have the split west, and then we have the split in north. It's a similar behavior with a different spawn. But if we exit a square in the top left, so we enter it from the north and we exit in the top left, we follow the tunnel until we can go east again, and then we follow the passage east until it curves, and then we end up north. And if we exit the square in the bottom right, so we enter it from the top left and we enter it in the right or right in both cases. We then go north at the split and then we follow the west split again. Now here's a very interesting behavior. Most cases, we have this triple dead end. We have it here. We have it here. We have it here. But there is an exit square top right variant where it does not behave like that. If we exit the square in the top right and it doesn't split off west like it does here, there we see it's a dead end. If it doesn't do that, it does continue instead of ending in the dead end. This is one special case that we do have to remember. So let's do this once in practice, because I actually despise that zone. We have Belly of the Beast, we enter it, and we enter it from the east, facing west. We follow the tunnel until we hit the square. We hit the square from the top. We need to check, does it exit here? It does exit. This is the exit, so we now have the exit. We continue. We follow it until we can go east. We follow the passage until it curves north. And then we follow the passage until we find... I said follow the passage until we find the exit. Alright, let's do it one more time. It was actually quicker than I expected. We enter Belly of the Beast. We enter from the east. We look at what direction. We have the tunnel from the north. We don't have to exit here this time, so we need to continue. We have to exit here, which means we take the west split when it happens. We go north when it happens. And then we just continue and we have to exit. Once you understand how it goes, it can be easy, but it was a pure pain to learn. So I hope that I can take this that you can skip this pain process of learning it and you can just have the easy part. Now, finally bringing us to Act 10 in Ravaged Square. Now I'm again cheating a little bit because we have in Act 5 we have the Rune Square. In Act 10 we have the Ravaged Square. Now there are actually very few differences in this thing. This is a set layout. We also have Oriev Square in Act 5, but that one is burning down quickly, and that is basically to just move northeast, so I'm gonna cover that when I actually get to the run. In Act 10, we enter Ravaged Square from the cathedral rooftops. In Act 5, we enter the Rune Square from the torched courts. So I'm gonna show both Act 5 and Act 10 real quick. It is a static layout. And outside of the entrances exit, so here we would have technically the kennels exit in Act 10, there isn't a lot of difference. We always have this pattern here. This is the first thing we gonna notice in Act 5. We always have this S pattern to get to the waypoint. And from this S pattern in this waypoint, once we reach the waypoint, we can just take this bridge. Now this bridge in Act 10 is gonna be broken. I'm gonna show that again in a moment. But then when we continue from this bridge, we're always gonna find this fountain. And this is what I call the blood fountain, because it's just filled with blood and corpses. If we leave a portal here, this portal later on can get us easily to rooftops. And we can move south, which also is always gonna be here, always reliquary. And down here, in both variants, just that in the other one it's blocked, or in this one it's blocked, we see here, these corpses here would be the control blocks. It's always the same. There are so few difference in this zone. It's just a bridge, basically. In, I guess, the exits, but again. So if we look at the exact same thing in Act 10, but this time we enter it from a different direction, so I'm going to show that first. So we gonna always have rooftops here, right? So we rooftops. Here's the blood fountain again. You see it's just, again, corpses and blood. We can leave our portal here. If we have a movement skill like Blink Arrow or Lightning Warp, we can dash across here. So we can do the dash here and move from the blood fountain. Or if we don't have Blink Arrow or Lightning Warp, we would need to go here and across this to get to the waypoint. Then we have the waypoint here. This time we do have the kennel entrance blocked until we revive Innocence. And we have again the S pattern leading to Rune Square, or rather to Torch Courts. And later when we do take the waypoint, the portal back, we have reliquary and control blocks at the exact same position. So we move here, always through this passage, always a little bit south of it. We have control blocks. This time it's not blocked off. You see here the exact same gate. And if we do want to, reliquary is also always going to be here from the blood fountain. They have the exact same positions. And that has been basically all 10 layouts that, if you know what you're doing, can be so quick. Hopefully it was very informative. If you enjoyed the video, I would highly appreciate a thumbs up and a comment. But otherwise, of course, have a wonderful day. One last thing I do want to mention is the basics. These things are very helpful. They aren't about layouts, but more about a general understanding of how to run fast. This has been my whole journey. Right now, I'm sitting at basically a 310, 315 consistent runtime on Ekong or bow runs, and 320, 325 on Witch or Elementalist runs. And the way I got there is by learning the basics, learning the fundamentals of campaign, and then learning how to utilize my practice runs well. So I'm just gonna leave these videos here. They're very informative. But of course, if you're just interested in layouts, fully understandable. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. All this being said, have a wonderful day, and I'll be seeing you either on my next video or my next live stream. Goodbye.